Hollywood is built on a magnificent golden illusion, a realm where powerhouses and icons birth a new generation destined to inherit the dazzling stage lights. We gaze at these picture-perfect families, assuming the sons of black entertainment royalty effortlessly glide into the forgiving spotlight. But bloodlines do not guarantee immunity from the systemic blade of public scrutiny. For these 20 heirs, the heavy crown of their fathers quickly mutated into an invisible enemy. What happens when the illusion shattered, and their privileged existence spirals into an earth-shattering secret or vicious tabloid fodder? From tragic death sentences to fame's crushing pressure of unfillable expectations, we are tearing down the facade. Let's expose the raw agony and shocking truths behind the sons of Black Hollywood's greatest legends. Jaden Smith. Scroll through his heavily curated social media feed, and you will find an avant-garde masterpiece of high fashion and philosophical quotes, perfectly projecting the ultimate golden illusion. Born into a Hollywood powerhouse family, Jaden Smith seemed mathematically destined to effortlessly inherit the dazzling stage lights from his legendary parents, Will and Jada. Through glowing screens, he confidently presents the image of a fearless young icon breaking gender norms and redefining modern artistry, safely wrapped in the forgiving spotlight of immense generational wealth. But double tap past that glossy, filtered surface, and the illusion shattered violently into ruthless tabloid fodder. The systemic blade of public scrutiny doesn't care about your royal pedigree. In 2018, when Jaden boldly declared Tyler, the creator, as his boyfriend, the internet immediately exploded with chilling speculation. Yet, the most terrifying cracks in his facade appeared when he dropped an earth-shattering secret. Disturbing, vague allegations hinting at dark, unspoken traumas involving Diddy. Was this just a brilliant survival strategy for modern relevance, or a desperate cry for help from a young mind heavily suffocating under fame's crushing pressure? The public eagerly consumed his intense physical and emotional transformations, blindly mocking his philosophical ramblings, while he was secretly battling an invisible enemy of relentless expectations. The intense psychological pressure of living up to a legendary picture-perfect family acts as a silent predator, leaving the mental health of former child stars utterly gasping for air behind closed doors. He may run successful sustainable water charities in Zambia and push societal boundaries, but he remains trapped in a brutal cycle of judgment. The harsh, undeniable reality of the digital age is absolute. Millions of followers will obsessively analyze every single pixel of your curated life. Yet the public fundamentally knows absolutely nothing about the raw agony hiding right behind your screen. The chaotic, endless scrolling of viral controversies abruptly freezes, instantly swallowed by the pitch-black silence of an empty movie theater, where another fiercely independent heir was deliberately hiding his face in the shadows to escape the suffocating weight of his own last name. John David Washington. Standing at the absolute pinnacle of cinematic glory in 2018, surrounded by the dazzling stage lights and a prestigious Golden Globe nomination for Black Klansman, he had finally arrived. The world eagerly celebrated a new acting powerhouse who had flawlessly transformed his physical presence over the years from a battered NFL running back into a sleek, commanding Hollywood leading man. Yet, this monumental peak masked a grueling, decades-long battle against his own bloodline. The golden illusion dictated that being the son of Denzel Washington, a true cinematic icon, was an undeniable golden ticket into a picture-perfect family legacy. But the illusion shattered the moment he attempted to carve his own individual identity. Terrified of fame's crushing pressure and the relentless whispers of nepotism, John David initially chose the brutal physical punishment of professional football, enduring raw agony on the field just to avoid the invisible walls of his father's massive shadow. When he finally surrendered to his acting calling, he deliberately hid his famous last name during auditions, deploying a desperate survival strategy to prove his worth in an industry inherently plagued by racial prejudices. The systemic blade of Hollywood is notoriously cruel. Critics eagerly sharpen their knives, dismissing his hard-earned success in complex blockbusters like Tenet as mere inherited privilege. He courageously used his newfound platform to critique the industry's systemic inequality, instantly making himself a target for harsh public backlash and political labels. What is the true value of seeing your name in blinding marquee lights, If the world refuses to acknowledge the agonizing decades you spent desperately trying to rip yourself away from the monumental shadow of the man who gave it to you. The dazzling, blinding flashbulbs of a triumphant red carpet premiere violently fade into the sterile, terrifying hum of medical machinery, where an entirely different heir's physical prime was brutally halted on a university practice court before his professional legacy could even begin. Bronny James. The brutal mathematics of human biology do not care about a billion-dollar legacy. For exactly 6,570 days, the 18-year-old heir to the greatest basketball throne on Earth meticulously built a golden illusion, preparing to inherit the dazzling stage lights from his legendary father, LeBron. The statistics surrounding this young powerhouse were flawless. Top-tier university recruitment, millions of social media followers, and the secure image of a picture-perfect family. But in exactly 0.5 seconds, the illusion shattered. During a routine 2023 USC training session, a silent predator executed a horrifying sudden drop. A heart rate that should have been a steady 140 beats per minute instantly collapsed into lethal chaos, plunging him into the raw agony of sudden cardiac arrest. While medical professionals frantically fought an invisible enemy to prevent his young body from wasting away into a tragic statistic, the systemic blade of the internet was already coldly calculating his demise. Society quickly weaponized his affluent existence, reducing a terrifying medical emergency to cheap tabloid fodder. Critics tallied up his luxury sports cars and lavish vacations to justify their vicious public disgrace, launching chilling speculation about whether this merciless foe was caused by fame's crushing pressure or an unavoidable biological defect. Even with a net worth exceeding $1 billion, LeBron was mathematically powerless to buy a single guaranteed heartbeat for his son on that gym floor. Beating this terrifying death sentence, Bronny bravely returned to the court to pursue his NBA dream, defying the ruthless odds. The most devastating equation of elite athletic fame is that a lifetime of perfect scoring averages and infinite wealth instantly equals absolute zero the exact millisecond your own heart decides to stop keeping score. The horrifying realization that endless wealth cannot secure a young athlete's physical survival bitterly gives way to the suffocating confines of a corporate battlefield, where a completely healthy former child star discovered his own millions had been systematically drained by the exact same hands that raised him. Romeo Miller. The Hollywood machine is fundamentally designed to consume child stars, transforming their youth into a highly profitable golden illusion. From the very moment he could walk, Romeo Miller was molded into a pint-sized powerhouse under the absolute iron grip of his legendary father, Master P. He was forcefully thrust into the dazzling stage lights as Lil Romeo, a platinum-selling teen icon generating massive wealth to uphold the grand facade of a picture-perfect family. But the systemic blade of child stardom is a ruthless silent predator. It historically treats children not as human beings, but as corporate assets to be aggressively milked for maximum profit. For decades, the public blindly believed he was safely operating within the forgiving spotlight, gracefully transitioning into acting on Nickelodeon and building independent businesses. But in 2022, the illusion shattered in a devastating, highly public display. An earth-shattering secret was violently exposed when Romeo took to social media, dropping a heavy bomb of scandalous betrayal. The millions he had tirelessly earned since childhood had allegedly been completely drained by his own father to pay off personal debts. This wasn't just cheap tabloid fodder. It was the raw agony of a son realizing he was permanently trapped inside invisible walls constructed by the exact man supposed to protect him. The ensuing public-family war became a heartbreaking spectacle of public disgrace, leaving the world with unanswered questions about the true, horrifying cost of their hip-hop empire. Suffocating under fame's crushing pressure and a toxic romance with the music industry, Romeo made a definitive, desperate choice in 2021. He bravely walked away from the entertainment machine entirely, choosing his small family and fashion brand over the merciless foe of Hollywood. The most vicious reality of the star-making system is that the ultimate invisible punishment isn't inflicted by ruthless studio executives, but often by the very parents who eagerly sell their own child's innocence to the highest bidder. The agonizing realization of being financially devoured by a trusted creator slowly gives way to the suffocating psychological terror of a casting room, where another heir was desperately fighting to wear his father's literal face without losing his own soul. O'Shea Jackson Jr. A single, monumental choice can permanently rewrite the DNA of a legacy. In 2015, the eldest heir to a massive hip-hop empire made a definitive decision. He would step directly into the dazzling stage lights to portray his own legendary father, Ice Cube, in the biographical film Straight Outta Compton. Growing up surrounded by extreme wealth and the golden illusion of a picture-perfect family, he already carried the heavy, unearned expectations of the public. But this specific choice triggered a vicious sudden drop into a merciless arena. Despite enduring 2 grueling years of auditions to legitimately earn the role, the systemic blade of Hollywood instantly dismissed his raw agony and relentless effort. The media aggressively weaponized his lineage, transforming his breakout success into cheap tabloid fodder fueled entirely by accusations of nepotism. He was suffocating under fame's crushing pressure, constantly battling an invisible enemy that refused to see him as anything more than a legendary rapper's clone. The psychological toll of this endless scrutiny eventually manifested in a dramatic physical transformation. By 2021, years of strict dieting and severe physical training resulted in a noticeably slimmer, chiseled face. However, the forgiving spotlight does not exist for the children of icons. Instead of acknowledging his immense discipline, society launched chilling speculation and rumors of cosmetic surgery, acting as a silent predator desperate to prove he was entirely fake. He watched his authentic identity practically wasting away under the heavy weight of malicious whispers. Refusing to surrender to this public disgrace, O'Shea quietly let his work obliterate the unanswered questions. Expanding his resume into massive projects like Cocaine Bear and Obi-Wan Kenobi, he unapologetically flaunted his lavish lifestyle and luxury cars on social media, cementing his status as an independent powerhouse. The terrifying ripple effect of choosing to step into a giant's shoes is that the world will spend the rest of your life aggressively trying to prove you are entirely hollow inside them. Staring at a meticulously sculpted reflection in the Hollywood mirror to locate your true identity abruptly shatters into a million jagged pieces of paparazzi flashbulbs, instantly exposing a completely different heir who was frantically trying to conceal his own crumbling romance behind a desperately forced, public smile. Evan Ross. Zoom in on a blurry paparazzi photograph taken outside a roaring stadium in 2016. Look closely at Evan Ross's clenched jawline and the tense grip on his wife Ashley Simpson's arm. It is a microscopic crack in the ultimate golden illusion of a glamorous marriage. Born to the musical icon Diana Ross, Evan was expected to effortlessly float through the dazzling stage lights to build a picture-perfect family. Despite securing roles in blockbusters like The Hunger Games, his perceived safety within the forgiving spotlight was fragile. That single frozen frame of a fierce public argument instantly triggered an avalanche of chilling speculation. The illusion shattered as the image became vicious tabloid fodder. The systemic blade of media scrutinized their union, trying to expose an earth-shattering secret of a toxic romance buckling under fame's crushing pressure. To fight this silent predator, they deployed a swift survival strategy, appearing hand-in-hand to dodge public disgrace. Yet society refused to let him breathe. His lavish lifestyle, extravagant parties inside his mother's mansion, was weaponized as an invisible enemy against his credibility. The world accused him of wasting away his days on unearned wealth, ignoring his relentless work ethic in reality television and music. He continues to balance his career and family, fighting the invisible walls of his mother's massive legacy. The cold truth of Hollywood is that a single zoomed-in photograph can distort a lifetime of genuine hard work into a fraudulent narrative. The chaotic flashbulbs aggressively capturing a fabricated matrimonial crisis completely melt into the heavy silence of a forgotten childhood bedroom, where a deeply wounded firstborn was actively erasing his identity to survive the blinding glare of his father's shiny new life. Trey Smith. In 1995, a 3-year-old boy silently watched the golden illusion of his picture-perfect family violently disintegrate. As the eldest son of Will Smith and Sherry Zampino, Trey Smith was permanently haunted by an invisible enemy, the suffocating psychological trauma of abandonment. While his father constructed a massive new empire with Jada Pinkett Smith, Trey was swallowed by an unfillable void. The sudden drop wasn't a singular scandal. It was the slow, agonizing realization of being completely erased. His younger half-siblings, Jaden and Willow, rapidly absorbed the dazzling stage lights, becoming celebrated icons. Enduring fame's crushing pressure in the shadows, Trey felt his self-worth severely wasting away. The media, acting as a silent predator, aggressively turned his emotional isolation into cruel tabloid fodder. They relentlessly compared his quiet existence to his siblings' flashy fame, inflicting an invisible punishment. To survive the systemic blade of public judgment, he deliberately became a ghost within his own lineage. He retreated far away from the forgiving spotlight, adopting the DJ moniker Ace to anonymously produce electronic music. His 2020 album, Best Wishes, was a desperate, healing cry from the dark. Eventually, he managed to conquer his raw agony and rebuild his fractured relationship with his father and the rest of the family. The ultimate tragedy of the forgotten child is that your self-esteem often perishes entirely in the shadows long before you ever find the strength to step back into the light. Leaving behind the rhythmic isolation of an underground DJ booth, a heavy shadow instantly descends upon a suffocating Hollywood casting room, entirely trapping a different son beneath the monstrous sins of his disgraced father. Mason Gooding. Hollywood is a predatory machine that explicitly demands a blood sacrifice for every golden illusion it creates. The systemic blade of the entertainment industry operates on a ruthless, inherited debt system, where the sins of the father are forcefully paid by the son. When Mason Gooding, the handsome heir to the legendary acting powerhouse Cuba Gooding Jr., stepped into the dazzling stage lights, he was immediately cornered by an invisible enemy. He wasn't allowed to simply enjoy the forgiving spotlight or leverage his picture-perfect family name. In 2019, an earth-shattering secret regarding his father's widespread sexual misconduct scandals completely obliterated their legacy, causing a terrifying sudden drop for Mason. Although completely innocent, the illusion shattered as he was aggressively dragged into the center of the public disgrace. The media, acting as a merciless foe, weaponized these crimes against him, turning his every audition into brutal tabloid fodder fueled by vicious nepotism accusations. He suffered the invisible punishment of being interrogated for his father's dark actions, his own identity rapidly wasting away under fame's crushing pressure. Refusing to let his career become a casualty of chilling speculation, Mason deployed a fierce survival strategy. He endured endless rejections, enduring raw agony while quietly fighting the invisible walls of industry prejudice to land major roles in Love, Victor, and Scream 6. He proved his undeniable talent, silencing the unanswered questions about his true worth. The most chilling reality of the Hollywood monarchy is that the heavy crown you inherit is often permanently stained with the exact scandals that will eventually slit your own throat. The heavy burden of carrying a disgraced father's reputation on a tense movie set swiftly morphs into the chaotic, blinding strobe lights of an outrageously expensive nightclub, where another heir was desperately trying to buy his way out of a legendary shadow. King Combs. I was standing in the chaotic, pulsing center of a multi-million-dollar mansion in 2019, completely blinded by the dazzling stage lights and the endless flash of diamond chains. The heavy bass vibrated through the floorboards as Christian Combs, the royal heir to Sean Diddy Combs, celebrated his 21st birthday in an event the media dubbed practically royal. As a relentless witness to this golden illusion, I watched fleets of luxury supercars idle outside while expensive champagne flowed like water, cementing his status as a young hip-hop powerhouse and fashion icon. But underneath this intoxicating, picture-perfect family display, the illusion shattered the moment the photos hit the internet. The public, acting as a merciless foe, instantly unleashed a wave of public disgrace upon the young star. People furiously questioned whether he was just another privileged heir lazily wasting away his father's hard-earned empire, transforming his lavish celebration into vicious tabloid fodder. He was trapped inside the invisible walls of fame's crushing pressure, battling the silent predator of endless expectations. Was this extreme extravagance a survival strategy to prove he didn't live in Diddy's shadow, or just a symptom of an unfillable void? Instead of letting his career succumb to a fatal death sentence of criticism, he pushed back against the invisible punishment. Releasing the hit Love You Better and dominating international fashion runways, He proved his raw agony was fueling genuine artistry. When the deafening party music finally stops and the flashing strobes burn out, the ultimate silence leaves you entirely alone with your own legacy. The intoxicating champagne spilled on a billionaire's mansion floor rapidly evaporates, replaced by the uncomfortable, chilling whispers echoing inside a controversial wedding chapel, where an aging musical idol was fiercely defending a deeply unsettling romance. Marquez Houston, I Am a Cold, Solid Gold wedding band, forcefully slipped onto a 19-year-old finger in 2020, becoming the absolute epicenter of a terrifying public storm. Before I Was Forged, Marquez Houston, son of Michael Houston, enjoyed the golden illusion of a 1990s R&B powerhouse, dominating the dazzling stage lights with his hit television show Sister, and the chart-topping group Immature. But the illusion shattered the exact moment he, at 39 years old, placed me on Mia Dickey's hand. I absorbed the raw agony of the internet's wrath as society launched chilling speculation about the precise timeline of their highly controversial relationship. Was I truly a symbol of a toxic romance that secretly began when she was just a teenager, or a testament to genuine love? The media immediately acted as a merciless foe, weaponizing their drastic age gap and turning his picture-perfect family attempt into vicious, unavoidable tabloid fodder. I felt his pulse racing as he faced the intense public disgrace, frantically defending his marriage against the invisible walls of severe societal judgment. This invisible punishment wasn't his only battle. I also witnessed the heavy sudden drop of his professional legacy when former bandmates Jerome Jones and Kelly K. Williams launched a public attack regarding his alleged financial mismanagement. They aggressively claimed his selfish desire for the forgiving spotlight destroyed the group's interests, inflicting an earth-shattering secret of betrayal that completely alienated his loyal fans. Under fame's crushing pressure, his reputation was rapidly wasting away. Yet, he boldly refused to let these multiple scandals become a permanent death sentence. Releasing his 8th studio album, The Best Worst Year Ever, and a massive 2-part documentary in 2024, he aggressively fought back against the silent predator of cultural cancellation. The tragic reality of an infamous wedding ring is that it gleams the absolute brightest precisely when the suffocating weight of public condemnation is desperately trying to crush the human hand wearing it. The cold, heavy gold of a scandalous matrimonial promise quickly melts down into the suffocating, hostile financial documents of a struggling film set, where another talented heir was fiercely battling his own demons to fund a desperate artistic vision. Malcolm Washington. The most terrifying silent predator in Hollywood is the suffocating paranoia of never truly existing. For Malcolm Washington, the son of the legendary Denzel Washington, the golden illusion of his picture-perfect family secretly morphed into an invisible enemy inside his own mind. Deliberately avoiding the dazzling stage lights to become a talented filmmaker, he still remained permanently haunted by his father's monumental legacy. While directing his short film Benny Got Shot, the systemic blade of industry prejudice deeply slashed his artistic confidence. He endured raw agony when severe funding struggles sparked chilling speculation and vicious rumors regarding his professional competence. Peers relentlessly whispered that his opportunities were entirely unearned, unfairly transforming his genuine efforts into cheap tabloid fodder. This fame's crushing pressure acted as an invisible punishment, erecting heavy invisible walls that constantly threatened to erase his independent identity. The ultimate horror of relentless nepotism accusations is that an artist's soul is brutally murdered by skepticism long before their actual career physically collapses. The heavy paranoia echoing through a prestigious independent film set violently shatters against the unforgiving neon lights of the adult entertainment industry, where another legendary bloodline desperately tried to survive the explosive collateral damage of a sister's unthinkable career choice. Langston Fishburne. The most ruthless mechanism of Hollywood is its absolute refusal to let anyone exist independently of their family's worst headlines. From the beginning, Langston Fishburne, son of the legendary Lawrence Fishburne, was merely a pawn on the media's chessboard. He tried to build his own golden illusion through a genuine passion for ballet and acting, earning his place in the dazzling stage lights with a notable role in Ant-Man and the Wasp. However, the systemic blade of society demands collateral damage for every famous last name. His raw agony began when private tensions regarding his parents' 2002 divorce leaked, turning personal grief into vicious tabloid fodder. But the ultimate sudden drop occurred in 2010 when his sister, Montana, entered the adult film industry. Although completely uninvolved, Langston suffered the invisible punishment of guilt by association, forced to navigate the public disgrace raining down on his picture-perfect family. He bravely continued his career despite this merciless foe. The brutal reality of fame is that the media will eagerly drown you in the exact same toxic waters your relatives chose to swim in. The suffocating guilt inherited from a biological sister's controversial choices rapidly transforms into the devastating legal crossfire of a mourning adopted son, where an unimaginable maternal tragedy was instantly weaponized into a bitter war over a billionaire's estate. Quincy Brown. The devastating year of 2018 violently ripped apart his world when the tragic death of his mother, Kim Porter, instantly threw him into a terrifying media storm. Before this heartbreaking loss, Quincy Brown had tirelessly worked to construct his own golden illusion, establishing a solid career in acting and music to escape the dazzling stage lights of his adoptive father, Diddy. However, the illusion shattered when his deepest mourning was ruthlessly transformed into cheap tabloid fodder. Enduring raw agony, he faced the systemic blade of public scrutiny as chilling speculation about bitter inheritance disputes spread like wildfire. Although both firmly denied these earth-shattering secrets, the invisible enemy of Diddy's massive shadow continued to suffocate him. His statements craving artistic independence were twisted into rumors of family tension. The ultimate cruelty is that just when an adopted son finally carves out his identity, a devastating loss forcibly drags him back under the crushing weight of the family name. The bitter, silent tension over a deceased mother's estate abruptly ignites into the glaring exhaust flames of a multi-million-dollar sports car, where another towering heir deliberately chose to aggressively burn his family's immense wealth in plain sight. Miles B. O'Neill. Refresh the endless digital feed of this wealthy heir, and you are instantly assaulted by the ultimate golden illusion. The son of NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal unapologetically broadcasted a picture-perfect family lifestyle, overflowing with multi-million-dollar sports cars and exotic vacations. By deliberately ignoring the dazzling stage lights of the basketball court to become a fashion model, his glossy posts demanded attention. But underneath the extravagant filters, the illusion shattered rapidly into vicious tabloid fodder. When a viral 2021 photo caught him driving an insanely expensive vehicle, the systemic blade of public opinion executed a brutal sudden drop. The internet became a merciless foe, launching severe public disgrace. Critics furiously accused him of wasting away his stepfather's fortune, completely ignoring his legitimate career achievements. Behind the pixelated luxury, he was enduring raw agony, suffocating beneath the invisible walls of Shaq's monumental shadow, while rumors of bitter family tension leaked into the press. He was desperately fighting fame's crushing pressure to carve out his own identity. The cold reality of the digital age is that society will eagerly consume your curated perfection, only to ruthlessly punish you for the exact wealth they demanded to see. The deafening roar of a heavily criticized supercar engine abruptly yields to the sterile, judgmental silence of a network television set, leaving another privileged son entirely paralyzed by the terrifying on-screen reflection of his own father. Michael Consuelos. A single decision can permanently chain you to an invisible enemy. For Michael Consuelos, the quiet son of television icons Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, the golden illusion of a picture-perfect family was already an incredibly heavy burden. But the sudden drop happened the exact moment he agreed to play the younger version of his father's character on the hit series Riverdale. This one professional choice instantly invited the systemic blade of ruthless public scrutiny. The illusion shattered as critics launched chilling speculation, aggressively labeling his casting as blatant nepotism. Instead of enjoying the dazzling stage lights, he endured raw agony. The media turned his legitimate acting efforts into vicious tabloid fodder, acting as a merciless foe that loudly claimed he possessed zero independent talent. He was suffocating under fame's crushing pressure, suffering the invisible punishment of carrying his parents' massive, unyielding legacy. Resiliently honing his craft, he quietly fights to prove his genuine worth. The terrifying ripple effect of a single casting choice warns that deliberately stepping into your father's shoes might permanently trap you inside them. The suffocating toll of intentionally wearing a famous parent's fictional face violently morphs into the sterile horror of a medical laboratory, where a completely different musician's biological identity was abruptly overwritten by a terrifying viral rumor. B. Howard. 99.9%. That single, fabricated statistical figure unleashed a devastating sudden drop upon a promising life. In 2014, a fraudulent DNA test boldly claimed that Brandon B. Howard, son of singer Mickey Howard, was the illegitimate heir to Michael Jackson. Before this mathematical nightmare, Brandon was quietly building a golden illusion as an independent R&B producer. But the illusion shattered instantly. The systemic blade of the media transformed that fake percentage into a lethal silent predator, turning his legitimate career into global tabloid fodder. Despite fiercely denying the earth-shattering secret, he endured the raw agony of endless chilling speculation. The public acted as a merciless foe, weaponizing his eerie physical resemblance and burying him under fame's crushing pressure. He suffered an invisible punishment, his musical identity rapidly wasting away beneath the monumental shadow of a man who wasn't even his father. Continuing to create, he slowly reclaimed his narrative. A terrifying equation of fame proves that one fake number can instantly erase a lifetime of genuine artistry. The clinical nightmare of defending your biological DNA against a global conspiracy violently gives way to the suffocating, echoing laughter of a legendary writer's room, where another heir was paralyzed by the comedic genius of his own bloodline. Keenan Ivory Wayans Jr. The most terrifying silent predator sits right across from you at the family dinner table. For Keenan Ivory Wayans Jr., son of the comedic icon behind In Living Color, the golden illusion of his picture-perfect family secretly morphed into an invisible enemy. He wasn't just expected to inherit the dazzling stage lights. He was demanded to replicate his father's generational genius. Between 2000 and 2010, the illusion shattered. The collaborative writer's room became a psychological prison of raw agony. He suffered the invisible punishment of severe creative conflicts with his own bloodline, sparking chilling speculation about deep family tension. The media, acting as a merciless foe, aggressively weaponized his heavily criticized projects into vicious tabloid fodder. Suffocating under fame's crushing pressure, his creative soul was rapidly wasting away beneath the massive, unyielding weight of the Wayans name. He eventually survived the crisis, but it proves that an artist's spirit can be quietly crushed by their own legacy long before their career officially collapses. The inescapable gravity of a legendary comedic dynasty immediately gives way to the unforgiving lens of an independent camera, where another son deliberately chose to agitate society rather than comfortably hide in his father's Oscar-winning shadow. Sati Gossett. The Hollywood machine is explicitly designed to systematically punish any heir who refuses to play its shallow game. Sati Gossett, the son of the Oscar-winning icon Louis Gossett Jr., quickly realized that the forgiving spotlight is a complete myth. Society demanded that he uphold the golden illusion of his father's massive legacy, assuming he would lazily inherit the dazzling stage lights. But the exact moment Sati founded Goose Egg Entertainment to create independent short films, the systemic blade of the industry viciously attacked. Starting in 2010, critics acted as a merciless foe, launching chilling speculation that his entire career relied on nepotism, subjecting him to relentless public disgrace. When he boldly released projects addressing heavy, sensitive social issues in 2015, the media immediately inflicted a severe invisible punishment. They aggressively labeled his work disrespectful, turning his genuine artistry into cheap, vicious tabloid fodder. Trapped within invisible walls, he endured fame's crushing pressure simply because he dared to have an independent voice. Choosing to remain completely silent against the unanswered questions, Sati relentlessly continued producing, refusing to let his ambitions suffer a death sentence. The true horror of the entertainment industry is that if you try to use your inherited platform to expose society's deepest flaws, the system will immediately attempt to bury you alive. The heavy burden of forging an independent narrative beneath an Oscar winner's towering shadow instantly dissolves into a bitter, unspoken tension regarding a deceased musical god's heavily guarded and priceless estate. Donnie Harrison. A quick glance at any viral, then and now visual comparison video reveals an eerie, almost supernatural physical transformation over time. Donnie Harrison is the absolute living, breathing replica of his legendary father, George Harrison. While his lineage slightly shifts away from Black Hollywood, the universal systemic blade of the entertainment industry remains identical. For Donnie, the golden illusion of a picture-perfect family was profoundly complicated by a legacy that practically defined modern music history. He didn't just step into the dazzling stage lights. He inherited the literal face of a musical icon. But when George passed away in 2001, the illusion shattered, triggering a devastating sudden drop into raw agony. Instead of being allowed to mourn in the forgiving spotlight, the media transformed his profound grief into vicious tabloid fodder. As he assumed control of his father's heavily guarded estate, he faced the invisible punishment of managing a massive, historic empire while desperately trying to forge his own identity. The public acted as a merciless foe, launching chilling speculation about the immense financial weight and unspoken tensions of guarding such a priceless vault. Suffocating beneath fame's crushing pressure and these unanswered questions, Donnie fought back against the silent predator of endless expectations. By producing his own acclaimed music and fiercely protecting his father's legacy, he proved he wasn't just a physical clone wasting away behind invisible walls, but a true powerhouse in his own right. The chilling truth of inheriting a global dynasty is that your own reflection constantly reminds the world of the exact legend they lost, making it nearly impossible for them to see the man who is actually standing right in front of them. The heavy, isolating silence of guarding a musical god's priceless vault instantly shatters against the chaotic whistles of a packed football stadium, where our final heir deliberately dropped a guaranteed athletic empire to completely reinvent his own digital legacy. Cordell Broadus. In 2015, the world eagerly watched a highly publicized golden illusion unfold on national television. Cordell Broadus, the exceptionally talented son of global hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg, was heavily projected to conquer a massive athletic empire. Highly recruited by UCLA to play Division I football, he was thrust directly into the dazzling stage lights, expected to seamlessly uphold the celebrated image of a picture-perfect family, while his superstar father enthusiastically cheered from the sidelines. Physically, he was a certified powerhouse on the field. But behind the deafening roar of the crowds and the glittering gold helmet, the illusion shattered. Cordell was secretly suffocating under fame's crushing pressure. The systemic blade of public expectation ruthlessly demanded he sacrifice his own genuine passions to fulfill his father's lifelong sports fantasy. He silently endured the raw agony of living a televised lie, permanently trapped behind the invisible walls of a high-stakes destiny he never actually wanted. When he abruptly announced his official resignation from the UCLA football program, a massive sudden drop shocked the entire sports media landscape. Instantly, the public transformed into a merciless foe. Angry critics and betrayed fans aggressively weaponized his decision, turning his honest pursuit of happiness into vicious, inescapable tabloid fodder. They launched chilling speculation that he was just another spoiled, ungrateful heir lazily wasting away $1 million opportunity, inflicting a brutal, invisible punishment on a young man who was simply trying to locate his own heartbeat. The media frantically searched for an earth-shattering secret of deep family resentment, desperately attempting to frame his departure as an ungrateful public disgrace. Refusing to be buried by these unanswered questions, Cordell executed a brilliant, independent survival strategy. He completely reinvented his identity, bravely stepping into the creative world of high fashion, modeling, and filmmaking. By successfully launching his own digital agencies and directing major campaigns, he decisively conquered the invisible enemy of his father's towering shadow. The most triumphant reality of inheriting a legendary name is realizing that the ultimate victory isn't catching the winning touchdown for your father's approval, but finally finding the sheer courage to walk completely off the field to build an empire of your very own. Above are 21 of the most handsome black celebrities and their sons of the same age. We look at these heirs and see ultimate privilege, a life packed with immense wealth and power without effort. But when we strip away the glitz and glamour, a dark, unspoken reality emerges. If you want to uncover more shocking secrets and learn the hidden stories behind the most powerful families in entertainment, you know what to do. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. Which of these Hollywood heirs do you think has suffered the most unjust and silent punishment?